Wen Moon. We're going to talk about CIFR and when it might moon, what it would go to, how you could potentially work on being a CIFR millionaire this cycle here, going through all the information that is currently available for this stock. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what it could potentially do given its current situation. But before we get going, smash that like button, subscribe if you've been with us a while and haven't done so yet. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio. We've got some awesome products on there. Don't sleep on the sticker shop on Redbubble. We've got 4 different stickers there available right now, and they are a nice affordable price these days, so don't sleep on that. But let's get going. So today, CIFR is actually doing really well. It's coming right up to my green line here at 514. So just like I said, as soon as it got out of this little area here where the shoulders were on this inverted head and shoulders, that it was going to very quickly find its way back up to $5. And guess what? It's doing exactly that. We're not always right on the channel, but you know, when we are, it's great. It's going right up to it. Now that my only concern right now is this right here on the momentum, the stochastic oscillators here that I've got for momentum. This big gap right here concerns me a tiny bit. You've got the fast moving ones way off the slow moving ones. Those will likely need to come back to visit this before continuing higher, and by coming back to visit that, it could either go do a pullback through time by going sideways and flagging, or it could come back and revisit the bottom of this big engulfing candle back here from October 16th, probably sometime in the last week of October. So be aware of that. It's not gloom and doom. It's just it could potentially do a little pullback before ripping into November. And that is something we're kind of expecting with the election, especially with crypto-related stocks and assets anyways, is that there's potentially going to be a pullback on them going into and right after the election, depending on its outcome or perceived outcome as we go into it. And of course, nothing I say here is financial advice or a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. Please do your own research before investing in anything. Let's get deeper into CIFR. So what is interesting about CIFR? One, well, they're a Bitcoin miner. We know that. Okay, great, fantastic. They are also working on their HPC, so they want to get into AI as well. So there's a couple of factors we're going to take into account here. And I did some good old research through ChatGPT. Let me get on here. So we got a couple of things. Got a couple of things. So one, their current total output megawatts capacity is 600. Okay, that's important to know because that is going to relate to their HPC side of the business. Now, if we come over here, this is the CIFR site. Let me go ahead and go to go to their financials. Actually, I want to see their financials. No, I want to see their mining report. Actually, operational update. Okay, so let's see, how much do they have? They have 1,500 Bitcoin. That's nice on their balance sheet. What's the current price of Bitcoin? It's what, 68 almost? 68,000? Currently, it's almost $68,000. Look at how this thing is holding right here. It's holding right above my line here. This is beautiful. Next stop is $70,000 as long as we keep holding above that 66.5. Anyways, they had how much? 1512. We're going to round it down a tiny bit. So they're holding on to about $100 million of Bitcoin. Okay, $100 million of Bitcoin. They're producing somewhere about 155 a month or so. Okay, not too bad. September, they sold 900 Bitcoin. That's a lot. They must be working on buying some stuff with that money. Anyways, so they've got that much Bitcoin. They're producing about 150 a month. They have 9 exahash. They're going to grow that. They're planning to grow that to about 13.5 by the end of the year. So we're looking at something, what, like a 40% increase, something like that. Let's get another calculator on here. 13, that is an ugly calculator. Okay, so we got 13.5 divided by 9.3. So they're looking at increasing by about 45.16% here by the end of the year in terms of their production. So that's important. And the end of the year is real close. So they may be getting, if they announce that here soon, that will be a benefit to them by the end of the year. So 45% increase in production, okay, for this year. And next year they're planning to get to 35 exahash, which is going to be up there with where CleanSpark and Mara are currently performing. So that'll be something to take into consideration in terms of market cap capabilities here. Okay, that's important. The other important aspect here is that they do have a $600 million ATM currently that they opened up in September. So they haven't really deployed that yet. So that's hanging over their heads in terms of potentially lowering their market cap by... not lowering their market cap, but diluting their market cap, excuse me. So come here at 1.66 billion. So they're looking to potentially, let's see here. Why is it opening up like this? This is the worst calculator I've ever seen. Okay. Anyways, 600. Okay. Not 6. There it is. Okay. It's about 36%. So they're looking to dilute by about 36% of the value of their stock here in the next however much time. So we're going to take that into account, and we're going to just assume full dilution for this. When we get going, we're going to assume full dilution because I like to sandbag things a little bit. I don't want to get too crazy. Okay, it's coming here, coming here. Okay, so they got $100 million of Bitcoin. They are going to increase their output by 45% while diluting themselves by about 36%. These are things to keep in mind as we go forward. Something else is the SEC filings. So if we go into the SEC filings, oh, this is one that confirms that they are doing that $600 million ATM. This came out September 3rd, 2024. If I scroll up, you can see this is their SEC filing with the SEC by CIFR Mining. Here, what is the form? Form 424B5. Yeah, dated August 4, 2023, prospectus dated, okay. Anyways, they added this amendment in September 3rd, 2024 for the $600 million ATM that they are going to work on. Okay. The other thing that came through is this is a 144 form, insider selling. This one came out 3 days ago came out. So this sale already likely went through, but the reason I'm interested in that is this number right here. Which is the number of shares or other units outstanding, which is 328,941,426. Okay. All right. And I'm going to compare that to this 144 form. This one is dated back to, where was the date? In June. Okay, back to June. So this was actually the first one I could find before the ATM offering in September, before that came out. And you can see that their number of shares outstanding was at about 310 million, and they've increased that to about 328 million. So they increased it by not quite 20 million, but pretty close. So we're looking at something like a 7% dilution already. So let's go ahead, 328.9. Let's just get that out of the way. 328.9 divided by, not divided by that. I need the smaller number first. I hate how it keeps opening like that. 310 divided by 328.9. Looking about, what, 5.8%. So 5.8% dilution has already come through. So we can go ahead and times that by 100 minus 5.75. Okay, no, it's not 6, 5.75. Okay, 30% dilution left to come through on this, all right, based on that. So that's nice to look at, nice to see. Okay, where are we going from there? So we know they're going to increase their production by 45% this year, by the end of the year. We know that they are expecting potentially 30% dilution, maybe not by this year, but by next year. They're also planning to go to 35 exahash here by the end of next year. So we're going to factor that in actually as well, 35 exahash. So we're at 9.3 currently. You know what? I'm going to do that instead. So we're currently at 9.3. Let me just go right here. We're currently at 9.3. We're looking at increasing it by 3.76. So 376%. We're increasing our production for CIFR. So we're going to take that in mind because I want to see the Wen Moon for the whole cycle, not for this Christmas. This Christmas, if it was just this Christmas, I'd be factoring in the 13.5. Okay. They're also working on potentially getting 1.7 gigawatts of power capacity. Okay, that's a lot. That's significantly more than they have right now. That's almost 3 times what they have right now. So that's pretty exciting. And that's what they're planning on working on and towards. Okay. So How much of that is going to be attributed to HPC? We don't know. We don't know. Okay, we don't know. But what we do know is, okay, so this is suitable. Their 1.7 gigawatts is suitable for HPC. That doesn't mean they're going to use it for HPC. So let's say they use like half of it for HPC, half of that for HPC. So if we're talking about, we're talking about them using half of that for HPC. Right? We're looking at about 0.85, so 850 megawatts of power going to HPC. So that's 850 megawatts of power going to HPC potentially here in the next 2 years or so. If I scroll down here on my little sheet that I've been asking questions for, I come down here, APLD. So they are a pure play HPC company. All they do is HPC. That's it. They have 109 megawatts of capacity. They're building that out, but they have 109 megawatts currently operating of capacity, and they have a market cap of about 1.57 billion. Okay, 1.57 billion at 1.9. If CIFR goes with 850 megawatts, right? 850 megawatts contributed to HPC, and we can see that they're getting about 1.57 billion per 110 megawatts. So let's divide this by 109. So 109 megawatts. Whoops. So we're looking at 7.79 times 1.57, or about a $12 billion market cap just for the HPC side of the business, potentially if they do half of their intended megawatts for just HPC. We could be looking at a $12.24 billion market cap just for the HPC side of the business, not even talking about Bitcoin, okay? Not even talking about Bitcoin. So let's go back to Bitcoin. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Currently, they have $102 million worth of Bitcoin, or they've got 1,512 Bitcoin. Okay, 102 million. That's factoring into their current market cap. Their current market cap is 1.66 billion. So 1.66 billion for 102. We're talking about less than 10%. Okay, so what are they getting? What are they getting for their Bitcoin? About 6%. So they're getting about 6% for their Bitcoin. Okay. And they got 1,512 right now. We're going to just, because since we don't really know, well, we know that they're making about 155. Let's assume they're not going to sell any more Bitcoin for the next year, right? They're going to add 1,860 to their balance sheet, plus 1,512. Okay. 3,372. Now let's do a base case of Bitcoin at $150,000, right? We're looking at 505 million Bitcoin, 800,000, right? 505, 800,000 Bitcoin. All right. And if that makes up about 6% of the value of their company, in terms of like they're getting, it's divided. We'll get there. My brain isn't working so well this morning. Give me a second. 618. All right. We're looking at about $8 billion on their balance sheet just for the Bitcoin. Okay. Just for the Bitcoin. So if we come back here, their Bitcoin operation, let's assume it doesn't grow. This is assuming it doesn't even grow. So this is very conservative. So assuming their Bitcoin production doesn't even grow. Let's do one where it grows. Okay, so they're tripling their output, right? They're tripling their output here by the end of the year. So let's say for the next 6 months they're doing 155. So let's do, I know I'm getting so many calculations here. It's getting crazy. It's getting crazy. Okay. Let me get this back up again. That's the one I wanted. Okay. All right. So they do 155 for the next, let's say 6 months. Okay. 930 plus 1512. Okay. That's 9,000. Really? No. 155 times by 6 plus 1512. There we go. 2,000, about 2,000 Bitcoin. Okay. Then from then on, they have their 35 exahash, right? Let's say 6 months from now, they got their 35 exahash, which is 3.76 times more than their current output, right? Okay. I know this isn't going to be perfect. Why did I do it like that? I know this isn't perfect. So they could be producing potentially about 582 Bitcoin per month. All right. 6 months from now, we're looking at March. So March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Let's say that they do it till November. We're looking at 8 months of this, right? That's another 4,622 Bitcoin. Okay? 662.4 Bitcoin. We times that by $150,000, right? That's $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. Divide that by 0.6 because it makes up about 6% of their current balance sheet. So why wouldn't it continue to make up about 6% of their current balance or their future balance sheet? We'll see. We're looking at $17 billion. Okay, this is going to be the big case scenario right here, right? $17 billion potentially of value out of that. That's insane. Okay, these numbers are getting huge. This is unmanageable. Okay, so 12 billion potentially from their HPC side of the business, assuming that they do 800 megawatts of HPC. Okay, 17 billion, assuming that they get to their 35 exahash in 6 months and are mining about 500 Bitcoin a month and sell none of it. Okay, 8 billion for their Bitcoin side of the business, assuming that they don't actually grow at all from where they currently are. They mine about 155 Bitcoin a month from now until next year, and they sell none of it. Okay, that's what we're looking at potentially. All right, now let's bring up one more calculator. We're gonna do one more calculator. Okay, so if we've got how much right now? So currently, now we got to go find out how much they might have in terms of shares outstanding. So let's go ahead and copy this, and we're going to put this into our calculator here. Okay, and we're going to times that by, what was it, 30%? I said they're looking to dilute by a further 30.394%. Okay, I think that's what I said. 3394. Yes, that's what I said. Okay. All right, so they're looking to have about 428,919,883 shares going forward. All right. So now we need one more calculator. I know, there's so many calculators. I like to fill the screen with calculators. Okay, so we're looking at, 1224. And we're going to go with the conservative estimate first, okay? Conservative estimate first. All right, Bitcoin gets up to $150,000. They sell none of it. They dilute fully to that 428 million shares, and they do 800 megawatts for the HPC side of their business. Okay, in that scenario, we're looking at 12 billion. So we're going to do this. We're going to cut out a few zeros on this. 4.31. A billion is 1,000 in this case. Okay, plus 184.466. Okay, so we're looking about, in this case, that doesn't seem right. 12,243. There it is. 0.12. Okay. Plus 8,184.466. All right. In this scenario, we're looking at $20 billion. Okay. And we're going to divide that by 428,919,000. So 428.9199. Okay. That's what we're doing for that, for the 883. Okay, just to, conservative. All right, per share, we're looking at about $47 for CIFR. If they fully dilute, they get 800 megawatts contributed to HPC, and they get their 35 exahash mining Bitcoin without selling any of it for the next year. $47 a share. Okay, so if we want to be a millionaire out of this, let's say we want to be a millionaire out of this. One more calculator. Trust me, there'll be more. $1 million out of this. All right, we're looking at $47 a share. Okay. Well, 63 cents. Okay. You're going to need 20,995 shares of CIFR in order to become a CIFR millionaire in this scenario. Okay. So let's go to CIFR. What is the current share value? If you needed 20,995 shares, 96, to become a CIFR millionaire, how much would that cost you at today's price of $4.94? So 20,994, 995, right? 20,995. We're gonna do 996. So 996 times by 4.6. 0.94. You would need $103,720 today invested in CIFR in order to become a CIFR millionaire with this potential outlook. Now, let's go see if you bought it down here. Like, let's say you bought at 270 right here at the bottom of the move here, 270. So you need 20,996. You needed $56,689 invested in CIFR in order to potentially become a CIFR millionaire at that price there, assuming that we get this lower end of the price that I'm looking at for CIFR based on all of the current information that is coming in about CIFR. Very interesting. All right, so let's move on to the big bull case. So one is 12 million. All right, let's say they get to their 35 exahash in 6 months. They're mining about 500 Bitcoin a month for 9 months into next year, into next November, and they sell none of it. They don't sell a single dime of it, okay? They do their full dilution of 30% from their current rate. They don't increase that by anything between now and next year. So they have that 428 million shares outstanding, okay? Let's see what price would be in this situation. This is going to be big. All right, so we're going to do this as thousands. So 12,243.12, okay, plus we're looking at 17,761, and that's it. Okay, so you'd be looking at a $30 billion market cap. That is huge. No Bitcoin miner's ever gotten that big. So this is pie in the sky. Way up there, super duper high market cap potential for CIFR here, and this is assuming that they get to the 35. They're absolutely nailing it with their miners. They're mining over 500 Bitcoin a month. They're pulling in, you know, a $12 billion market cap off of their HPC business because they went off without a hitch. They've got the biggest clients in the business, and they're just rolling, right? This is like perfect Goldilocks scenario. So don't get married to this one. Anyways. $30 billion, okay? And we divide that by 428. 428,919,883. What's it worth per share? $69.95. So it'd be worth $69.95. Now, if we want to be a millionaire with that, we're gonna round this up to 70. Let's say it just hits $69.99. Okay. $69.99 or 70 just for math. You know what? 70 just for math. Okay. You need 14,285.7, so 286 shares of CIFR in order to become a CIFR millionaire in the Goldilocks sort of scenario for this stock. So if you bought it right now at $4.94, you need $70,567 invested in CIFR in order to become a CIFR millionaire in this scenario. Now, let's say that you put a whole bunch of money into it and you've got 14,000 shares at that 270, that recent cycle low. You got in this much, okay? Or you're just holding it now, but let's see. You would have had to have invested $38,569.50 into CIFR in order to become potentially a CIFR millionaire in the Goldilocks scenario that we've outlined here on CIFR. So sound off in the comments. How many shares of CIFR do you have? How many do you plan to have? Do you think it's going to hit this Goldilocks number here near $70 per share? Do you think it's going to hang out closer to the 30s and 40s in CIFR for this cycle? Does this make any sense here with all these calculators and all this stuff going on here on screen? What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments. And that's all I've got for you today. So please like, comment, subscribe, share this video if you found it informative or entertaining. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio, and have a profitable day.